Hey everyone, you with Tom from Ludicrous feed. Thank you so much for joining us today on Tesla and EV news update from Australia to the world. I'm joined as usual by Riz from Carloop. G'day Riz, how are you?
Hey Tom, going well? Good to be here.
Absolutely, and I want to thank everyone for supporting us first for the first three episodes, and thank you for all your positive comments as well. And here we are, episode four. Away we go. All right, let's have a look at all the news headlines we're going to talk about tonight, which is, first of all, the Tesla Semi completes a 800-kilometer trip, and Musk invites Bill Gates to test drive. Tesla lowers supercharger rates in California, Florida, and other states, as well as in some European countries. We've got some more Tesla Model 3s in the inventory website for Tesla in Victoria, Australia. CEFC gives $20.5 million to help drive down cost of electric car loans. New South Wales EV charging company wins inaugural Fast 50 Climate Award. Rivian celebrates Canadian deliveries with customer open house. 11 cool features of Rivian's Amazon electric delivery van. Volta Trucks complete the first customer driving evaluations in the electric vehicle company's launch markets. A quick look at the Porsche Taycan Sport Turismo. And NIO has 25 battery swap stations in the Hubei province in China. And finally, another look at what recall means in the motoring world, with Ford recalling 634,000 SUVs due to fuel leaks and fire risk. All right, Riz, let's start with this first article of the day, a big news story. Elon Musk says fully loaded Tesla Semi completes an 800-kilometer trip and invites Bill Gates to test drive. This is fairly significant given the Tesla Semi delivery event later this week. So 800 kilometers apparently without recharging, which is quite incredible, really.
Hmm. I guess it goes back to, Tesla's emphasis on efficient vehicles. Doesn't matter whether it's the smaller Roadster all the way up to this semi truck. Um, I mean, 36 ton. That's quite a bit of weight to be carting around for 800 odd kilometers. So yeah, good to see. I mean, I can't even imagine what would it be, Tom, like 750 kilowatt hours, 1 megawatt hour
Yeah,
battery pack,
uh,
like
yeah, you need something like that to complete, an 800-kilometer drive carrying that much weight. You think about our cars, right? The Model 3, which is like not even 2 tons, with a 60 kilowatt hour battery doing 400 kilometers. So yeah, I think Riz, that's pretty close to that mark there. We don't actually have any confirmation from Elon whether it did the journey without recharging.
yeah, there isn't much there. I think we can get Nash to ask the question.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess we'll know the answer pretty quickly after that. But I think it should be all the details. That event is probably one of the most exciting things. I know they've opened two factories this year and the rest of it, but this is this is the event. And I think we'll get an update on the Cybertruck, may even have something about the Roadster. But this, for Tesla to be able to do that with a semi, it was just unheard of.
Yeah, that's right. So the semi event is later this week. I mean, Robin Denholm, the Tesla chairperson, earlier said that they would make 100 semis for delivery this year, flagging up to 50,000 units a year by 2024. We know that PepsiCo will be the first main order for this Tesla Semi, which I'm sure they'll announce later this week. So we cannot wait for that. And of course, the little gripe or little hint at Bill Gates, who earlier said that battery technology would not work for such a I guess for trucks, because I think he did mention that it requires more battery to carry so much weight, and it's kind of a vicious cycle. So I guess Elon has sort of hinted back at that suggestion, and he invited Gates to have a test drive as well.
Mhm.
So yes, very interesting to see whether Bill Gates takes that offer indeed. All right, so that's a Tesla Semi, 800-kilometer trip. Very good news there for the progression of battery technology for long haul transport. The next story is the fact that Tesla will be lowering supercharger rates in California, Florida, and other states, as well as some European countries. Riz, why are they doing this?
Um, I guess various different reasons in different markets, energy costs are different as well. But also, I think they're starting to gear up and get ready to open the network to many more cars. And the energy costs haven't really gone down that much. I mean, only a week or so ago they were talking about increasing them and having peak periods in some European countries between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. So things haven't changed that quickly, but I think they're really starting to think about, now that they have 40,000, I think, stations
Mm.
that they recently announced. Um, it's yeah, they want to really look at it as a larger business than what it is today. So it could be, let's get as many people, as many users onto our chargers, and then sort of see what happens. The more users they have, the more they can monetize it later on.
Yeah, that's right. I think it might be another loss leader kind of strategy from Tesla where they want to get non-Teslas into their chargers, maybe just to test it out.
Mhm.
And we see that they reported that peak hour prices have dropped by as much as 5 cents per kilowatt hour.
Mm.
Um, Interesting there. They've got that peak pricing model now in the US, and I think we're probably going to see that here as well in Australia. There's not much variation here in this country, but I'm sure that will be a hint of things to come here in
Mhm.
Australia. So yeah, we'll watch this space certainly down under. But there it is, an idea of the supercharging sort of time of use pricing in,
Mm.
for example, West Hollywood here in California in the US.
Mhm.
All right, so the next story we're going to talk about is it looks like there's more cars in the inventory for Tesla in Australia. We're looking at Victoria here, and we know that a lot of Model 3 deliveries as far back as March 2022 are starting to get their delivery windows. A lot of holders are starting to get the delivery windows for later in this year, sort of mid to late December. I wonder is whether a lot of these order holders are starting to cancel their orders now that the pinch time has come.
I think it's a combination. I mean, to get that many cars, I mean, this morning I had a look and they had two, the first two that we saw. One, I think, is a demo,
Mm.
with 1,800 odd kilometers on them. But yeah, it just seems to be that is happening. And in this case, I mean, it looks like Tesla's selling them at current prices. So a lot of those order holders that are canceling now paid less. Like if we're talking February, March was when they had the main price increases. So those people were paying less. And I guess, Tesla's saying, well, pay what we currently charge if you order a new one, but get it sooner. So it is it's a win-win situation for those that have been waiting, um, to make the switch, and they're just worried about the lead times. They've got the cars now, and I feel we touched on this, I think, 2 episodes ago. There'll be more and more of these being added to inventories because people will be canceling. Financial situations are different now, and a bit more uncertainty than there was back in February, March.
That's right. So if you want to snag a Model 3 without waiting, looks like there'll be some cars popping up in the inventory page of the Tesla Australia website. So check it out in your local state. Next article is from The Driven. CEFC gives $20.5 million to help drive down cost of electric car loans. And reading the article, it looks like the Clean Energy Finance Corporation will be
Mhm.
giving interest rate discounts to people buying electric cars in Australia.
Yeah, it's the Clean Energy Finance Corporation has been involved previously in funding many renewable projects as such, including electric vehicle purchases. I guess it's a bit hard with this particular article to sort of tell, and there's not as much detail that I've come across around what that means, in terms of the what level of discounting can occur. I believe one of their funding partners was Plenty, that they were Plenty Loans. They were doing a bit with them, to offer a lower rate to those looking at getting an electric vehicle. But I'm not entirely sure now what they can do when the Reserve Bank's increasing rates left, right, and center in the last couple of months.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, you're right. There's not much detail in this article at all, apart from the fact that there is a discount. So, Yeah, I guess if you are looking at EVs, there are some opportunities to get a loan, I guess. But you're right, the interest rates are rising. So we'll see what happens with companies offering discounts on green car loans.
Mhm.
Watch this space. And a quick shout out to our friends at EVSE.com.au. There's my good friends Brendan Wheeler and Sam Corkies. They're receiving an award, the inaugural Fast 50 Climate Award. Yes, EVSE wins that award, and there they are, looking very happy indeed.
It's awesome to see. I know um, they've done so well in trying to get as much charging out there. They've, I believe, even at a lot of the experience centers for BYD that are starting to pop up now, the charging infrastructure is installed by Sam and the team. And yeah, they just do a professional job and being recognized for this growing part of the market when everything else, as we've just discussed, is sort of slowing down. So yeah, congrats to them. It's a big achievement, and hopefully they'll win a couple more in the coming years.
Yeah, absolutely. That, as Riz said, they work really hard and they do help brands install their EV chargers in their showrooms, where they in their depots. So good luck to Sam and Brendan moving forward. I'm sure you guys will do very well. And they also support Ludicrous Feed, our YouTube channel as well. So very proud to say that yeah, they've won this award. And congratulations to the boys and the team once again. Well done. Next article is from Tesla Rati. Rivian celebrates Canadian deliveries with customer open house. I love this picture, by the way. This
Yeah.
beautiful delivery center. It just looks awesome. They're in a converted warehouse. The cars look fantastic. People look interested. It just looks like a great place to take your car.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to see, Rivian finally expanding out of the US and into new markets and their adventure vehicles. And when I think of Canada, I think of mountains and I think of, all the adventurous things that you can possibly do, skiing and the rest. So that's really, really cool that they're finally starting to expand. And um, I guess in that picture, I think there's a red Tesla there in the car park outside.
Yep,
Um,
there it is.
so, a Tesla driver is coming in for something a bit more adventurous. Really, really cool to see. I'd love to see it in person.
Yeah. 100%. And as you rightly put it, Canada is associated with adventure, and Australia is very similar to that. So I think Rivian will do very well in this country, and we certainly cannot wait to see one and test drive one down under. So Rivian, if you're watching, listening, we welcome you with open arms. Next article is the 11 cool features of Rivian's Amazon electric delivery van. How cool do these vans look? They just look awesome, and they're not actually branded as Rivian. They've been plastered with the Amazon sign on them, but I read down in the article below that they've been designed in a way to look friendly and inviting.
It's they are part of it sort of reminds me of the last generation of the Volkswagen Beetle that had those little round eyes. But I mean, so practical. I'd love to see one in action. I think with hopefully Amazon will be able to roll some of these out outside of the US. Yeah, everything just looks very practical in there.
Yeah, and the branding is very on point with Amazon's branding. It kind of looks like one of their postal centers where you can pick up your parcel. It's
Oh,
kind of
yes, yes.
that same blue sort of tinge, Amazon blue. But I like them. I'm hoping we'll see more, vans and light commercial EVs in Australia as well. I think they'll do really well.
Yeah, how cool are the tail lights as well? Just from the
Yeah.
back there, Tom. That one like goes all the way around.
Yes.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, well done Amazon and well done Rivian for partnering with them. Indeed. And staying on the light commercial space, we've got Volta Trucks now, completing the first customer driving evaluations in the EV company's launch markets. Now these are obviously a little bit smaller than the Tesla Semi, um, but they look good as well. They look very futuristic, and yeah, another segment of the market will be filled with EVs one day.
It seems to be heading that way a lot more in the electric, up sort of heavy truck space as well as sort of light to medium trucks as well. And that's good to see. The more competition there is, more, we talk about ground up EVs a lot, and how they're great for passenger cars. Ground up trucks would be even better. Like you can imagine, truck being not a very aerodynamic object to begin with. So yeah, the more we can get these on the road, the better it would be to reducing some of the transport emissions.
And we should note too that in Europe they've got very strict driver hour regulations. I believe in the European Union it's 4.5 hours.
Ooh.
So in some ways, you don't need a truck with a huge battery pack because the drivers have to stop anyway. And when they stop, it's a good chance to fill up with electric juice, so to speak. So I guess, even if the Tesla Semi goes over there, it'll be fine. And so will these medium-sized sort of trucks because the drivers have to stop every 4.5 hours anyway. So yeah, that's where EVs come in quite handy. And a quick note about the Porsche Taycan Sport Turismo. Now, we put this up here because we have been talking a little bit about the NIO ET5 shooting brake, and Riz has mentioned a couple of times in previous episodes that it looks very much like this vehicle.
Yeah, the Taycan, and we can call this one a shooting brake as well. Like it's, yeah, I think it resembles a lot of what that segment is. Just, when I look at that, I just think of it's just money. Like they're so expensive, but they are very, very cool. Like it's a practical sports car. But having said that, I think when Tesla introduced the Model S in 2012, they changed the practical sports electric vehicle and now just sports cars in general,
Yeah.
because that was practical and did everything. So yeah, still cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. Again, we've said this many times, but we do like the shooting brake station wagon estate look. Hopefully they do make a comeback. And yeah, that's a very classy looking EV indeed. So hopefully we'll get to see this in this country and go for a test drive as well.
Well, Porsche, if you're listening, then Tom would like to get behind the wheel of one. So we're all in shooting brakes.
That's right. I'll drive down from Sydney to Melbourne to pick up Riz. We'll drive around Albert Park and then I'll drop Riz home and drive back to Sydney. All right?
That's
Porsche,
it.
you got that? All right. Thank you. All right, well, speaking of NIO, here we go. So we talked about this last episode too, this battery swap program they've got going on. So I think this is what Tesla wanted to do initially, Elon Musk. He wanted to swap the batteries out of his vehicles. That was his first concept.
Yeah, I can't even remember what year that was, but they did showcase that. They staged it I think from memory it was like under 3 minutes to get it done. Just for our viewers' information, I think the NIO battery swaps, Beyond Nayland has done a couple of videos of it in Norway where they do have some of these swap stations, and it takes around 7 minutes. So which is still respectable for, from empty to full, because basically it's like swapping dare I say, a gas bottle for your barbecue. But it's still cool to see. So they have over 1,200 stations in China. They are growing them quite rapidly. Some of the pictures in that particular article just it looks pretty cool. Like some of the sceneries that they've got in China is just, yeah, very cool driving roads.
Yeah. I mean, look at that map of China, right? It's what's the population now? 1.5 billion people. Obviously, most of them live on the eastern side of China, but 7 minutes is that's pumping petrol right there. That's the same time, really.
Yeah,
I guess it'll come down to the pricing too. I guess will it be different between swapping rather than sitting there and waiting to recharge?
yeah. No, I also believe there is a leasing model of some sort where you just own the vehicle and not the battery. You rent the battery. So, I mean, once again, Neo, if you're listening, we need to experience this in person, and we need to know more details as to what's the difference between swapping and leasing, versus owning the battery pack outright.
Yeah, definitely. We're very happy to test that. If you put a pilot program here in Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane, happy to test it and let you guys know at NIO. All right, you heard it here first. All right, so that's NIO. And finally, this is not an EV story as such, but we were talking last night on episode 3 about recalls and maybe reclassifying recalls into soft and hard recalls, because some of the Tesla recalls are really software updates rather than a full physical recall. This is an example of a full physical recall. So Ford recalls over 634,000 SUVs due to fuel leaks and fire risk.
Hmm. It's, I guess it's called an internal combustion engine for a reason, um, because there is fire. Yeah, just interesting to see when they have these large recalls.
Mm.
Half the time, the problem they have is just getting parts to dealers to get them fixed. I mean, we remember the Takata recall that was big here in Australia and globally, to be honest. But people just, were ignoring letters, and then there's some states started canceling registrations if you didn't get your car fixed or get it repaired. So, yeah, getting parts in, and that means this could be a risk for a while, until all the dealers have the parts. 634,000 vehicles are a lot of sort of cars to get upgraded, and dealers need staff to make that happen and all the rest of it. So logistically it's extremely challenging. That's why, luckily for Tesla, with their soft recalls, in most cases
Mm.
it's all done relatively quickly, very seamless experience, and hence why Tesla has such high customer retention.
Yeah, that's why we make such a big deal about the fact that we shouldn't be calling the software updates recalls, because it's misleading for the average consumer. They don't understand the difference. Like, this is a proper recall, and we shouldn't laugh because this is quite serious.
Mm.
Whereas a lot of the updates can be fixed overnight, literally with a bug fix. So, again, Riz and I will like to, ask the regulators to change the terminology so that it's reflects more accurately what's going on, a software update versus a physical recall.
Hmm.
All right, everyone. Well, that's it from Riz and myself tonight for episode 4. Thank you so much for watching and making it this far. If you've got any suggestions for any stories, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, please give us some more feedback on how we're going. Love to hear from you. Otherwise, Riz, thank you so much again for your time.
Thanks for having me, Tom, and thanks for everyone for the feedback that they're giving us. And yeah, we'll just keep doing more, keep at it.
Indeed. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. And as always, happy charging.